90s music is such a great time. There's something special about it that most people are willing to recognize.
I feel really dumb saying this, but they still have radio stations, right?
Those types of songs were songs I have these nostalgic memories of, like sitting in the back seat while somebody's driving.
Hot take. I loved Puff Daddy back in the day. Not so much now. I was a freshman in high school and I did a thesis, and it was on the East Coast versus West Coast rap war.
I had no knowledge of any sort of beef or anything like that. All I knew was just that there was hip hop music.
When you first saw the Spice Girls, which one did you think was the hottest?
I'm just going to say the 90s were a really special time, and there was something magical about it.
Live from a Toad the Wet Sprocket concert where you could hear a pin drop, it's the Socially Awkwards podcast. I am Matt Donna, and he is Pearl Bram, and we are the Socially Awkwards. Welcome to the pod. Today is a good day. We are going to step by step on that ice baby with good vibrations. We will creep our way to a street, sweet, sweet fantasy style, hypnotize your mind, bump and grind, and show you the sign, then go out in a blaze of glory. If you haven't figured it out yet, today we are talking about our favorite decade of music. It's the 90s. Pearl Bram, how do you feel about 90s music?
I feel great. 90s music is such a great time. I think that everybody sort of feels this way probably about their own era of music. I think that the perfect time. I was born in 85, so for me, it represents the ages of 5 to 15 that I got to experience the 90s, and that music during that time was such a, yeah, it feels really very culturally relevant to me. But I think there is something overall special about it that even people who didn't necessarily grow up in the 90s, I think there's something special about it that most people are willing to recognize. So does that answer your question?
No, I agree with you. I was thinking about how you were talking about how most people would think that their favorite decade is going to be the decade they grew up in, which I totally agree in. But then I was thinking about, I'm like, man, it must suck for people. Like, I mean, they don't know it, but for people who were born in a time where there wasn't any music you could just listen to, like, so
Hit
you
me
were
with
just
that.
like,
Hit me with that ragtime.
right,
That old
like,
ragtime
you
I grew
know,
up with. Yeah.
it's like, I mean, I don't even know when they started recording stuff, but it's not like it was. I mean, in the realm of all of time, it was recent, right, when they started recording stuff. So it's kind of weird. But all right. Well, before we get into this, I want to talk to our people out there, our one watcher and listener. I think we have two watchers, one listener. I think one person listens, one person watches, and one person watches without the audio, and then they touch themselves. That's actually me. I touched myself to myself.
Oh, I thought you were saying you touch them. I think you do.
With
I think
consent.
Yeah. You know when you see it.
Yeah, you do. You know consent when you see it. You do. I want to talk about the weather for a second, because obviously we're in the Midwest. We're in Michigan, and we just got pummeled with a lot of snow. And one of the reasons why I want to talk about this is because I don't know if you remember, Brandon, but a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, and I have an audio clip to play for you. This is from our podcast from 2 episodes ago. And let's hear what you said. Here we go.
Anyways, I've been telling everybody how happy I am that spring. I'm officially announcing the spring's here.
So you're going to doom us all, is what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying there's no possible chance we'll ever see any more snow.
Ever?
We're absolutely done.
In our lives? Well, so you said a couple of weeks ago.
I would like to go on record.
Okay.
Now that we've been pummeled, and rightly so, I'm going to go on record and saying thank you for pummeling us, and I'm going to go on record and say that we are absolutely done 100% with winter now. I know it now. There's no way that anything possibly will happen. And by the way, it was a crazy storm. I'm calling this the defining storm of this winter, and possibly even for a longer period. I don't know if I'm ready to go on the record with that, but this really has been a defining storm that I know I'll remember for a little while, because it really hit us hard.
It was like the worst one, and I think it was just because of the teas, right? Like we had no snow. Like I don't know how it was at your house, but in my front yard I had no snow. And then all of a sudden, like 2 days later, I had 5 feet of snow.
Yep,
And
I went from no snow to the most snow that I've had
all
all
year.
winter. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite, and you know, the crazy thing, at the same time, it was like 105 all week in Phoenix, and it was raining in Hawaii like all week. And it's just, I don't know, it's just crazy weather, and it's that mid-March stuff. And I do hate it because in Michigan, and we've talked about this before, you have this thing where it's like you have like fall spring, right? Which I think is what the first like week or two of March was. It was like fall spring. And then winter's like, hey, I'm still here. Wait, which is correct, right? I mean, the first day of spring is what, tomorrow? Well, we're when people hear this, it'll already be, they've already passed the first day of spring. We're recording this on the 19th of March. I think it's tomorrow, or it's usually the 20th or the 21st. It's just crazy to me because then now we'll have this, and then I guarantee you, like probably in April, we're going to see like an 80-degree day, and it'll just going to come out of nowhere, and we're going to be like, what the? And that's one of the things I do miss is you do feel like, I don't know if you feel like this, but as I've gotten older, I feel like seasons have kind of, the the fall and spring, the transitional seasons have gotten smaller, or they just are in summer. It's either summer or winter is what it feels like, and
Mm,
more winter than
yeah.
summer usually.
Yeah, I can
All
see
right.
that.
Today, like we said, we're going to talk about our favorite decade of music, the 1990s. I love the 90s too, just as much as you. I think, you know, we grew up. You were born in '85. I was born in '83, so it was the decade where between I was like 7 and 17. So I got quite a jizz of music in my face. If that's, do people say it like that? I think people
That's
say
the
it like
only
that.
way I've ever heard it.
Yeah, it's the only way they explain it. That's all I've ever heard it.
Yeah.
However, before we get into the bulk of things, I want to talk to the viewer and the watcher and the listener, all three of them. I want to talk to them about we're in some '90s covered bands. And you know this, Brandon. We do a lot of cover band stuff in the summertime, and we're in 10 different '90s cover bands. So I want to list them off to people. And then I was going to ask you this before, and I thought it'd be great to wait for the podcast. I figured that after I list them off for people, you can finally tell me what your favorite name is of these cover bands, like which one you like the most. But
Yeah, and I'm excited because I know all these, but of course, you know, you need to tell everybody, but of course I already
yeah,
know since I was in them.
right. But it doesn't mean you can't show like expressions. You know, like you're just hearing them for the first time or something. But all right, so we are in 10 different cover bands. Look for us. Look for any of these bands this summer if they're on tour. You come see us. All right, here they are: Bare Naked Ladles, Scratchbox 20, Bird Eye Brine, Slow Doubt, The Manberries. It's one of my favorite bands. We do great stuff. Broasis, Dean Gray, The Poo Poo Pals, Rage Against the Insane, which is what I have to do as I get older, and the Fat Freak Boys. Fat, of course, spelled PHAT, as it was in the '90s a lot. So I've been wanting to kind of know which one of yours is like the favorite.
I really have a soft spot for Broasis.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good one.
like how'd that song go? Like a champagne super brova in the sky.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
was
that
like
was my
that.
favorite. That was
Or
my
like
favorite line.
Brunderwall.
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, that didn't
That
really work
works.
very
Yeah,
well. Yeah, Brunderwall.
go with it.
uh,
Yeah.
don't look back in Bronger. Okay, that one did not work. All right. And I can't name any more songs. All right. Well, so those are the 10 cover bands that were in '90s cover bands. Look for us on some flyers that may be flying your way if it's a windy day. Let's talk about the beginning of the '90s and how the grunge came in and kind of killed the hair metal bands. Now, me personally, I'm not against grunge music, but I was never really a big giant grunge fan. Just so people kind of know, these are mainly Seattle bands, right? These are bands that came out of Seattle, and there was something happening during that time in the late '80s, early '90s. with the economics and, there was a recession in the 80s. People had some disillusionment from the post-Reagan years, things like that. But Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, they all came out of that. The big songs from Nirvana are Smells Like Teen Spirit, which is probably the one that everybody knows, In Bloom, Come As You Are, and Lithium. Um, Pearl Jam had some good songs. Eddie Vedder, of course, being the front man for them. They had Black, Alive, and probably one of the biggest ones is Jeremy. Soundgarden, R.I.P. to Chris Cornell, who was the lead of that band. Black Hole Sun is a song that I think a lot of people are familiar with from the 90s, and then Fell on Black Days. Alice in Chains, Lane Staley, R.I.P. to that man. I think he died from a drug overdose in the 2000s. They had their songs Wood, Nutshell, and Them Bones. How were you with grunge music? Were you a big grunge fan? Or I mean, you were still young too, and I was still young enough
Yeah.
to where I feel like it wouldn't really affect us. But later on, obviously, you probably heard it. Were you a fan or?
Grunge music to me was always seemed like a Gen X thing.
Yeah.
And less like a, because I'm I'm more millennial, elder millennial maybe, but
They
I
put us in a different, like they put like I keep seeing these things where they put from if you're born from 1978, I think is 1978. They take one part of a generation and part of our generation, and they say if you're born between these times, and I think it's 78 to 85, you're actually a different type of millennial because you're the oldest of the millennials, and you still remember like shit from where you didn't have internet and stuff. Where some of these millennials, because they bring it all the way to like 96 or something like that, don't they? And a lot of those people growing up don't remember not having internet and shit like that. But sorry, I just wanted to say that before.
yeah, exactly. And there was a huge technology change in our I wonder how it's going to feel to other generations seeing. They'll probably see technological jumps that are much larger than
Yeah.
what we saw, but yeah, I mean, definitely we went through because in my earliest memories of like the most technologically advanced thing was like color televisions that
Yeah.
had already existed, of course, and I was
Right.
born. And then, I got to see us go from that to everything that we have now, and which is quite a huge jump. Um, but that being said, going back to the music, I think that like my actual like personal musical like renaissance didn't actually happen until around the year 2000. So in the 90s, I sort of my experience of music was sort of through osmosis, right? Where it's like
Mm,
it or
yeah.
through a where I'm
Good
just like
word.
sitting
Good
there
word.
and
Yeah.
yeah. I can't remember where I first heard that.
Yeah.
It is a
Me.
great word.
Probably
Um
science class. Yeah.
yeah, maybe actually. Um so no, but it's through like pop culture and things like that. Or you watch something and you're hearing music like Lion King, Elton John
Well, you heard a
belting out
lot of
like this.
stuff on the radio, obviously, when you're growing up, because that's
Oh,
one
of
thing I
course, yeah.
think that I mean, they still. The weird thing is I feel really dumb saying this, but they still have radio stations, right? Like, I don't ever listen to the radio. Obviously, they do, but I
Yeah.
don't. Are people really like? I mean, unless you're in your car and you're specifically tuning to a radio station, some people just listen to their own music, right? Or they might have Sirius, or they're listening to their phone music on their phone or whatever. So it was a different generation, definitely, where you could so I'm sure you heard a lot of those songs in that decade on the radio, but you're saying that you didn't really get into the bulk of it until, like, 2000.
Yeah, just I wasn't a really big music head on my own as a kid. Like, say I was
Yeah.
like 10 years old in my room, like spending all day long, like thinking about music or recording. Like I had done my own music stuff, but I just wasn't as deep into the culture. But there were a lot of songs that I did enjoy as a kid that were on the radio. And I can think of, a bunch of songs from the grunge days and the grunge bands. Of course, I remember like Smells Like Teen Spirit, and Pearl Jam songs. And then
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get into other things too, but like I remember hearing like as a kid, I always liked hearing Beck songs on the radio for
Yeah.
some reason. I think my
Yeah.
brother was into Beck for a period. But just hearing Loser was like a song I always thought was cool. I
Yeah.
also like as a kid, I really loved the early 90s era dance like club songs. Like
Yeah, like, I don't know. No, I can't
If
think
you
of
if
any.
you if you pop in, if anybody wants to go back and pop in Night of the Roxbury and listen to it from beginning to end,
Oh, yeah.
basically
Yeah.
all the songs you're going to
That
hear,
is a
listen to
one-hit
that.
wonder that is on my list, by the way. We're going to talk
Okay.
about some one-hit
But
wonders later, but that song specifically, and yeah, people won't know that it comes from that probably.
I'll
People
just say
probably don't
that
even relate it.
those types of songs were songs I have these nostalgic memories of, like sitting in the back seat while somebody's driving, and 106.7 The Peak is on, and I'm hearing these songs coming through the radio, and I always thought I always enjoyed them. I feel like, as much as any 7-year-old can enjoy a dance song.
Dude, I was listening to I remember being like 13 or 14 in the back of a car with my friend, and his sister was driving, and I don't know where we were going, but they had ICP in. And I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
my god." And I'm like, and if anybody knows ICP, they're pretty raunchy. And I
And
was
you're
like,
like, I'm
"Oh
not
god,
allowed to
who are
hear
these
this.
people?" Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but I enjoyed it. So yeah, so you yeah, and I like I said, I wasn't a big grunge fan. Would you say grunge was probably like the precursor to like alt rock or modern rock or whatever kind of happened? I mean, do they have like somewhat of a connection there, or is it really just separate? Because I do feel like there's a little bit of a connection there.
I do feel like there's a connection, yeah, because like you said, the '80s had that glam, like hair metal rock,
Right.
um,
Yeah.
or metal or whatever I don't know if
You can
metal
do
is the right
anything
word,
for
but
Meatloaf, but I won't do that for Meatloaf.
yeah, I really like that song.
Yeah.
So I do think that rock, especially like modern rock, got this I'm wearing boots, but I still look good, but I'm like kind of singing with rasp in my voice.
Yeah.
And so there was this mixture, I think, that they stole a little bit from grunge and then also from the sort of glam rock early '80s. And they came up with something that I think that what grunge gave us was authenticity in music. And then that's where like the alt rock and modern rock is like they tried to hang on to that authenticity, but push it in a more pop or digestible direction for, besides just being grungy. That's my impression of it.
Like bands like okay, so obviously Nirvana kind of broke up, because of the passing of Kurt Cobain. But Pearl Jam is obviously still around. Soundgarden, I'm assuming, broke up at some point because Chris Cornell moved on, unless they had a different lead singer. I'm not even sure. Alice in Chains, Lane Staley passed away, I think, in the early 2000s. But Pearl Jam has been around for a while. I don't know if they're still making new music. Are they still considered grunge, do you think, or are they just kind of put into like a general rock category now? Because do people even say grunge anymore? Is that just kind of like a 90s thing?
Yeah. So what's the question really? Like if you had a band that came out right now that was exactly the same as a
Right,
like
yeah.
core grunge band from the '90s,
They
would
might
we
make
even
it.
call it grunge right now,
Yeah, I
or
don't know
would
if
we
we
just call
would.
it some,
It'd be
or would it
something
be some
new.
little sort of like indie, like alt indie band or
Right.
something like that? That might
Genres
be what
have
we
like
call.
multiplied since then, and there's been so much mixing of genres, right? Like they're mixing everything with like once we got old time road and they started mixing country with hip hop, I'm like, oh well, they're just mixing anything with anything now. So
Yeah.
but it is interesting. Um how did you feel about Soundgarden? For some reason, Black Hole Sun like sticks in my head. I don't know why. Like I just always remember that song, and I'm not sure if I even like it. It just always sticks in my head.
It was there, but I don't think Soundgarden really did anything for me.
Yeah, yeah. Cool name though. When you actually think about it, you're like, oh, it's a garden that grows sound. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great name.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about hip hop because hip hop really went crazy in the '90s. In the '80s, it was more about like the gangster rap, and kind of like the beginning. The hip hop's like roots came from like the late '70s, and all that came from what would you say? Like hip hop rooted really from like it was almost like from like jazz and funk and the blues and R&B, like all of that shit, right? That kind of rooted hip hop. And um, I will tell you this: I was big into hip hop in the '90s. I even liked Puff Daddy. Hot take. I loved Puff Daddy back in the day. Not so much now. Didn't know he was a crazy fucker, but I was a teenager, right? Um, but I was really into the East Coast West Coast thing because it was so interesting, and so much so that in I think what 98 I was a freshman in high school and I did a thesis, and it was on the East Coast versus West Coast rap war. So that was kind of interesting.
Great.
Uh, I was a big Biggie and Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur fan. Um, I loved both their music. Now there was more because a lot of people. First of all, I don't even know how many younger people would even know that there was a big beef between the coasts, right? And certain rappers to the point where two major rappers got killed, right? Like I don't know, and that's not all. There was other people that were, that suffered wrath from that. And but the big thing is like it wasn't just that. It was a cultural like definition between the kinds of music from West Side, from West Coast and East Coast. And East Coast kind of maybe had some like I don't know. West Coast was still kind of more gangster rap. You had NWA coming out from the '80s, who sang that song "Fuck the Police," who got them into a bunch of trouble. Obviously, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E. A lot of people were from that. That people know now. And then Notorious B.I.G. The reason why, obviously, I liked Puff Daddy back in the days because Puff Daddy discovered Notorious B.I.G. I won't say he discovered him; he was just the first one to sign him. I'm sure that with the kind of talent that Biggie had, big old dude who had a really interesting tone in his voice. But I'm curious and I'll talk a little bit more about this, what happened during this whole thing. But I'm curious because I don't feel like you just said that you didn't get into a lot of the music until 2000, and then you kind
Yeah.
of. So I'm not even sure, and I don't think hip hop was like your first choice to get into. I think maybe I don't even know how much hip hop you really like, or you've even like listened to. But what do you know about any of this? Like, is all of this like, oh, or is it like, no, I kind of remember some of this?
You're telling me stuff that I have learned, but it's not stuff that I necessarily remember. Like at the time it was happening, like during the big beef era, East Coast, West Coast stuff, I I had no knowledge of any sort of beef or anything like that. All I knew was just that there was hip hop music. I knew what it sounded like. And you'd hear it on the radio sometimes. But I wasn't real deep into the cultural like zeitgeist of like what's actually going on underneath the songs that I'm just hearing on the radio.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why I've always liked hip hop is because first of all, it's a totally different way of relaying your thoughts on paper, right? It's not just singing. It's I don't even know how you describe it. How would you describe it? It's like because a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's just like talking and song." And it's like, "Well, no, there's more than that." Um
It's really good. It feels good. Like I understand there's something about it where it's like, the way a really good drum beat feels
yeah.
when the drummer's in the pocket and the beat is just flowing and it's got rhythm and style, and something about a good drum beat. I think it's like hip hop does that, but for words. And there's something about it where when it's hitting just right. I mean, like I'm a big person who cares about word cadence in songs that are
Yeah.
not hip hop.
Yeah.
Like just like a rock song or pop or whatever
Right.
indie song, some song that I might write. I sit down and I don't just think about like what I'm saying, or the melodies I'm singing, but I also think about like the cadence of how the word sounds. And I know we'll get into this more because this is why I sort of like bands like I don't know, like Oasis or Third Eye Blind. It's because
Yeah.
they have a certain, even though they're poppy, they have a certain cadence with singing these words that I
Yeah.
just think feels really good. But I
Blink
think hip
182
hop,
stands out kind of for me for that too. Like Blink
yeah,
does,
yeah.
yeah.
So, but hip hop is just, in my opinion, from my impression is that it's like that to the extreme, where it's just like these words where the most talented artists do have that meaning behind it, that really touches on something, but they do it in such a great like stylistic way with the cadence and the word choice, where it just scratches an itch and it feels really good to your ears just to hear these things. So, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
man. You'd love to scratch an itch. If it can scratch an itch for you, especially if you got like gonorrhea or something, it's really good.
yeah.
Um,
I want to say too that because there is like hip hop in the '90s is obviously it's a lot different than it is now, but the '90s was like I'm wondering I'm wondering if it's a side effect of just people getting better, like the talent level going up in terms of like how much you can pack into a phrase. But the 90s was like really digestible. Because the hip hop it was so much more like a ba 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 ba. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's and you're hitting those things and you're like we don't play. Homies
Right.
don't play, and you're hitting
Right.
those
Yeah,
words
like
like
a
right at the end of
Beastie
the measure.
Boys kind of type, or yeah.
Yeah.
It is
So,
crazy because I think you're talking about cadence, and the cadence was like with hip hop it is different, but I think nowadays the cadence is insane. Like they've
yeah.
done, and I will say, obviously, I'm partial because I'm a big fan of Marshall, and I will say that I think that Eminem is probably one of the best ones at doing that, but I don't know. I think that's just a biased opinion, also too, because I think he's one of the greatest lyricists that's ever lived too, just with the lyrics he puts together. But yeah, so in 1994, so Tupac and Biggie were actually friends before this beef happened. And there are a lot of people who kind of said that this was like one of those things where it was just to sell records, right? Like, let's put this out there and let's make people think this happened. But then I think what happened is like fantasy became reality kind of thing. And then it became too much. And then gangs were getting involved, Bloods and the Crips, if you want to look those up and hear about all those. Um, but in 1994, he went to New York City and he was at, I think it was Quad Studios, and he went to record and he got shot, and he blamed Puff Daddy and Biggie for that, even though I'm not sure there was any evidence. But he always thought that that's what happened. Then Biggie did a song called "Who Shot You," which was kind of in reference to that, but saying that they didn't, that they weren't involved. And then Tupac did a song called "Hit 'Em Up," where he's talking about having sex with Biggie's wife and just all kinds of crazy shit. Like, that's another thing that I think hip hop music brought, like beefs. Like, you don't really see beefs in other part of music, do you? Like, there's not people who are like, there's not like, Travis Tritt. God, that's such a bad old country reference, isn't it? Okay. Who's the newer guy? Okay, Chris Stapleton. Chris Stapleton, and give me another country musician, because that's like my least favorite genre. Or is it yours too?
Um
Uh,
uh
whoever.
a modern one?
It doesn't matter, I guess. Um,
Somebody on like one of those voice like
oh, like Blake Shelton, Chris Stapleton, and Blake Shelton. You're not going to see those two like go back and forth with songs, right? And then in each song, one's guy like, Chris Chris Stapleton eats a dick. He's not going to sing that. And with rap music, all of a sudden you've seen this. I think that's one of the more entertaining parts about rap music, because if people don't know, there was this beef. There was beefs in the 80s between rappers. A lot of it, I think, came from the gangster mentality. But also, Eminem's had plenty of beefs. There was the whole Nas and JC beef. There was the whole beef between recently, probably the most recent one was Kendrick Lamar and Drake. So it is crazy like how that happens. But
do
so
beefs
go ahead.
yeah, do beefs like Kanye and Taylor Swift count?
Well, that one was a little weird, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I guess. Well, nowadays, who doesn't Kanye have a beef with?
that's true, yeah.
I think he's got a beef with himself, probably. He seems like the kind of guy that just would like do that. Um, so anyways, yeah, so those songs came out. Hit 'Em Up from Tupac, Who Shot You from Biggie, and that kind of escalated things. The West Coast guys were more like and a lot of these people are still prominent today. Tupac, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, Suge Knight, who was the producer. He's going to be the main like perpetrator of all of this. I think he was really the one that just there's a lot of rumors that he killed both these guys, or he was responsible for killing both these guys. So I don't even know. And then
Yeah.
Easy E was part of that. And really, on the East Coast, it was just really Biggie and Puffy. And, you had some, Jay-Z was part of that group, but he wasn't really part of the beef. And that was kind of, Jay-Z kind of came in a little bit later in the 90s. Um, so there was obviously, we're going to talk about all the people who were slain, who passed away in the 90s. And obviously Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac will be on that list. They passed away both from being murdered, both on the West Coast, within 9 months of each other. So that was a crazy, just kind of a thing to see, like, being a fan of that music and seeing that happen. But and then, in by 1999, hip hop is the dominant commercial genre in America, which is crazy to me, but it's become really, like, now how many hip hop, like, if in the 90s, if somebody asked you, like, how many hip hop artists are there? Can you name them? I probably would have named like 10, maybe 20. But now, fuck. I mean, how many are there out there? There's so many.
Yeah.
Um Shout out to NF, by the way. You know NF?
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, and he's from, Gladwin, Michigan. He's from right near us, and he got famous, his mom, passed away from cancer, and he made a hip hop song, and he performed it at his school, and people liked it, and then he put it online, and then from there, it became kind of history. So shout out to him. Obviously, Eminem became big in the late '90s, with "My Name Is," you know that song. Um Also, we don't want to leave out De La Soul and A Tribe Called Quest. Some other big names from that time, would have been. I mean, Beastie Boys were still around. Then you've got your Vanilla Ice with Ice Ice Baby. You've got your MC Hammer. I don't know. There was still quite a bit around that time. You even had some females doing it up. Mary J. Blige, more of a singer type. Faith Evans. Queen Latifah was doing some big time rapping back then before she was a big time actor. So a lot of people doing stuff in the 90s. But I feel like the 90s really transcended hip hop. And like without the 90s, you couldn't have hip hop where it is now, right? I feel like the 90s really transcend it and then transcend it. I feel like I said that weird. Transcends it. And
There you
then
go.
I'm trying to really hit that C, and it's hard to hit the C when it's after the S. Transcends it. All right. Anyways, yeah, and then
Yeah.
Eminem kind of made it cool to be white and a rapper, which I guess is cool. So, I mean, he paved the way for
Get
a
it?
lot of white rappers, I think.
He
Obviously,
undid all the Vanilla Ice damage.
yeah, he
Apparently, I
undid
guess. Yeah.
that, and people didn't, or the Everlast. I think Everlast might have been doing stuff before him a little bit, but who likes Everlast? I don't know. I already forgot what songs they sing. All right, let's talk about the boy band industrial complex. Brandon, what was your favorite boy band from the 90s?
That had to be. This isn't a complex, but I'm thinking it was like Boys to Men. Was that a boy band?
Yeah.
What was that? That was a couple
I was going to
dudes.
say the same thing. If you're going to say Boys to Men, I was going to say, I was like, it would be probably Boys to Men or All for One for me. Like
Yeah.
those guys, I like those guys better than the white boy bands. So I don't know what that says about us, but
Yeah, I think that by the time bands like NSYNC or Backstreet Boys were coming out, like I could say that one of those are my favorite as a joke, and that would be fine. But I was old enough to, I think, even as a kid, make fun of those bands when they were out at the
yeah.
time. So but I think Boys to Men, like that was at a time when, um, yeah. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm just gonna go with that. I'm not
I
gonna
used
finish
to
the sentence,
love
but
Boys
I'm
to
gonna say
Men,
Boys to
man.
Men.
Like I used
Yeah,
to love like all their songs. Like I would sit there and just belt out like on the school bus. I'll make love to you like you want me to. And you could do that back in the day
yeah.
because, nobody cared.
Why is that? Yeah.
Yeah, now you have to
No,
have good.
no internet. Yeah,
Yeah, that was probably nobody. Yeah, you wouldn't get made. You'd only be embarrassed by those people, and most of those people wouldn't care because they're just people you grew up with
yeah.
anyways. Um I will say that, and I hate to give it to Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, but I will say that Good Vibrations is a decent vibe. It's a decent song. It's a good song. It's a not probably a it's not like high on my list or anything, but I could see where people were moving to it, right?
Yeah,
Or
it's
or
in the
like the
name.
step
Yeah.
by step. Yeah, or the step by step in from the New Kids. Um and if people don't know this, who was in uh who was Marky Mark, Brandon? For the people who may not know.
He was part of the Funky Bunch.
Well, right, but who is he now?
Is it,
How would people
Mr.
recognize him now?
Have you seen The Departed?
Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
still like
there he
you,
is.
you still mentioned like a movie that's 20 years old.
A paging Mr. Wahlberg.
Yeah,
Mr.
Mr. Mark
Wahlberg. Yeah.
Wahlberg, and his brother was in New Kids on the Block. So Donnie Wahlberg was, of course, in New Kids on the Block, and then he has another brother that just makes burgers. I think all he does is make burgers, right?
And I've had their burgers, and they're quite good.
At Wahlburgers? You've eaten at a Wahlburgers?
No, but the local grocery store, they sell Wahlburgers patties, and
Do
so
they?
I've cooked. Oh yeah,
Here?
oh yeah, yep,
For real?
yeah.
How
And
much
we
more
and I
are
bought
they
them.
because they're Wahlburgers patties?
I think there's a little bit of a premium, but they are thicker. They are good quality burgers, and I've bought them in the summertime and grilled them up here. I think just last summer even, and they were good burgers, no complaints, good
Do
quality.
you jam them up your butthole and then dance, sue some music, and see if there's some good vibrations? Sorry, that's just what I would do. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right,
I don't
let's
do
talk
that.
about the female pop stardom. Obviously, Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera were big at that time. They kind of came up around the same time, if I remember. I remember everybody had a crush on Britney. Well, probably on Christina too. I think Jessica Simpson. I don't know if she was that time. She might have been a little later. And then you had the Spice Girls. Now, when you first saw the Spice Girls, which one did you think was the hottest?
Ginger.
You liked Ginger, so you were into Ginger.
Yeah.
I was actually
Yeah.
into, I think it was, who was the one with the black hair? Was that Posh? I don't remember all the Spice Girl names. I remember Mel B,
Posh.
because now I think Mel B is the most attractive. But I don't remember.
Yeah,
But
there's
back in the day, I
Posh.
didn't.
There's a Posh baby. Ginger. Is Posh the one that's with the Beckham? She's the one that
Well, that's
married.
right. Yeah, Victoria
Yeah.
Beckham.
Yeah, and then there's Sporty Spice as well.
Right. And then their manager was Old Spice, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
and
correct,
now
sir. You sound like
now
Ed
they live under
McMahon
my
from like the Johnny
Ladies
Carson
and
shows.
gentlemen.
That is correct. You are correct, sir. What do you remember about TRL? Did you watch TRL?
TRL. I didn't watch TRL as much as I would have if I had it at my home, if I had constant access to actual cable
Yeah,
television.
you had
where
to
I
have
could be
cable
watching
back
these things.
then to get it. And,
Yeah. But watching at my friend's house, it was here's what I remember. I remember there's a host, there's like a bunch of kids that look like they were kind of like, around my age or a little older.
Who was the
kind
host?
of like in the crowd. Carson.
Yep. Carson Daly.
Carson Daly, yeah.
Carson Weekly.
Yeah, him too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then they would have like, now what is it? They would have bands on to play like little shows and sets, and then they would also talk to them and like interview them and
like
ask
little
questions
interviews.
and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
And it would
really
be-
watch it that much.
And there was like this weird like semi-live feeling about it where like they'd be doing it and it'd be like there's like a big glass window where like you could see. It wasn't there a thing where there was like a street down below where like sometimes they'd be like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, there's people down below.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because there would a few of them just jumped out the window. They're like, "Fuck this show," and they just jumped, and we never heard from them again. I always watched the other TRL, which was Two Rich Lesbians. Now that was a good show.
I didn't. What channel was that on?
Lifetime seems right. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Hallmark. No, you know what? Two Rich Lesbians probably wouldn't make it to Hallmark. Hallmark seems a little too churchy.
I was hoping you were going to say something like just out your window.
Ooh. Well, why didn't you
Yeah.
just say it? You could have just said it.
Well, I thought I asked you the question.
I don't
thought of
always
it,
have
and
the punchline, Brand.
I don't wanna step
Sometimes
on your
you've got
witty.
it. You know what? It's in
Yeah.
you, and I believe in you.
You know what? We're going to cut that out because you actually, I already said it, so we could chop it
I
up.
could piece it together. Yeah. Britney or Christina? Who'd you like better musically? I know you probably didn't like either of them musically. I wasn't big on that kind of music, but if you had to choose one,
Oh, it would have been Britney then for
Right.
sure.
and what about looks wise? Back in the day, back in the 90s, who do you think was hotter, Britney or Christina? or Carson Daly.
Everybody always there was always a consensus around like the kids that Britney was
I think
like,
with her music, I think that might have been part of her music though, right? Like because she did Oops, I Did It Again, and she was in the schoolgirl outfit. And I don't even know if she was 18 at the time when she did it. She might have been like 17.
yeah.
But I think there was like that she's singing this more seductive type of music where I don't remember Christina's first song, but she sang like there was songs I remember from her where that were like more lyric, like deep. They were deeper than more than just like, oh,
Yeah, I do remember. I mean, like, I think there was a tide change there when Christina had come out with a song, and I forgot what the name of it was, but she was in a boxing ring. And do I
Yeah.
just say anything else, or do you already just know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
there was, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear you. That was a good time change. There was a change there. There was definitely a
there was a
change.
shift. There was a shift in the
Yeah,
atmosphere
there was
there.
the stick shift happening there, or what? Stick shift? No, I mean stick drift. There was stick drift happening there. People
Yeah.
aren't going to
Okay.
get that because we had the stick drift conversation pre-pod, but it still works. All right. Anything about pop music that you want to talk about? I feel like we're kind of rifling through this fast, but that's okay. But anything about pop music you want to talk about? Like
I
songs
think there's
from
pop.
Pepsi, Coca-Cola. Oh.
Well, there's a subset. There's a type of pop that is easy to gloss over, I think, and I don't know exactly what it is, but because there's like the Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, and things like that. But there's this type of music that is like,
Lisa Loeb.
I'm thinking of like I brought it up earlier, but like an Elton John song. Like, what was
Oh.
that song you had, The Lion King? Can you
Oh,
feel the love tonight?
yeah, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
that song, I
guess.
remember hearing that on the radio all the time. And
Yeah.
I don't know, is that pop? Is that what that is?
I don't know. See, the thing is like back in the day, I felt like pop had a sound. But now I just feel like because it is basically it's just popular music, right? It's whatever's popular
I think so, yeah.
basically. And so nowadays I feel like they just throw everything into the pop. Like if it's popular, it's pop. And so
Yeah.
I don't know. It is kind of a weird genre in that way because it's the only genre that's just it's not really about the music, Rock and roll has a certain sound to it. Heavy metal has a certain sound to it, but pop just seems like I mean, it does in the 90s I felt like it had a certain sound, but really when you're talking about it now, it's just like, oh, it's just they kind of throw everything into pop as if people like it, they just throw it in there. So it's tough. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, man. But we still got more to talk about the 90s, our favorite decade of music. I think it's just our favorite decade in general. But first, we should probably do some.
It's time for our fake sponsors.
We should probably do some fake sponsors. We are fake sponsored by Gooseneck Liquor. You think your liquor's hard? Gooseneck will take your liquor and body slam it to the floor. Gooseneck is so hard it'll slap your mother right in the face. Gooseneck is the only 500 proof liquor in the world. How is it 500 proof? We don't know. We just know Randy's dead and he only drank a teaspoon. Gooseneck. Feel the power of 1,000 Shia LaBeoufs. We are also fake sponsored by My Ass. It's that time of year again where I try to sell my ass. My ass will make strange noises from time to time, but my ass is a willing participant when it comes to playing around. My ass may be a little bigger than the normal ass, but it's pretty to look at. So come on by and check out my ass. For sale now on Donkey Book. Man, it feels good to get some exposure. Get my ass some exposure again. Yeah.
What's
Good time.
Donkey Book?
Trust me, dude, you do not want to go there. If you do go there, just go to the classifieds immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a code? Do you have like what's it called?
Like
An
a
invite
promo code
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
you got to
promo
type
code.
in? Yeah. It's MATTSASS. And a lot of people think that says Matt Sass, but really it says Matt's ass, which is my donkey, people. It's my donkey.
I see.
All right. Well, I did develop a pop quiz for Brandon, and of course, whenever we do a pop quiz, of course, my pop quiz is entirely around '90s music. But whenever we do a pop quiz, we like to, sing the song.
Got ourselves a pop
There's
Beautiful.
that cat.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
cat again, man. All right. So, if you remember, it's been a while since we did a pop quiz, but if you remember, I've got 10 questions for you, all multiple choice. 3 of the answers are obviously going to be one of the answers. The fourth one is always just fun for a little comedic flair. Um, and I will go through all of them and I will not tell you the answers until it's all over. So, Brandon, are you ready for the 90s music pop quiz?
Yeah, hit me with him.
All right. All right. This is funny because we literally just talked about this at the beginning. I'm going to start you off with the easiest one because we've already literally discussed this in the last half hour. What music genre did Nirvana popularize in the early 1990s? Was it A,
Grunge.
punk?
Oh,
Come on, let me read them.
Yeah, I
A,
apologize. Yeah.
punk, B, grunge, C, alt rock, or D, cock and blow. That old time cock and blow. You remember that? Old time cock and blow. Old time cock and
Yeah,
blow.
I remember that. Yeah. That was
Obviously, I know you're going with grunge. We just
yeah,
discovered.
I'm gonna
I
go with
realized,
grunge,
like,
yeah.
as I'm reading this, I'm like, wow, I did not look at what we were going to talk about before I did the pop quiz. But
It's a
hey,
bit like being back in school when they're like, I hope you paid attention during all that boring stuff because
right,
now the test
right,
is on everything we just talked about. I just
yeah,
said it like
yeah.
15 minutes ago.
All right, number 2. Let's hope it gets a little harder. Actually, this one might be difficult for you because I didn't know this either. What 90s song spent the most weeks at number 1 on the Billboard music chart? Was it A, I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, B, I'll Make Love to You by Boyz II Men, C, One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men, or D, My Fart Will Grow Strong by Honey Dijon?
Dijon.
Yeah, it's a
Oh
great
boy.
band. Great band. Honey
That would be a nice name for like a rapper name, just
Yeah.
Dijon.
Dijon? Dijon? Well, what's that mean in
Di-
French? Shouldn't we figure out what it means in
Dij-
French first?
Dijon Jackson. Is
Oh
that the
yeah,
guy?
that's good. That's a good song.
So I'm gonna go with I Will Always Love You.
All right. I will always love you. So you're going
Yeah.
with A.
Yeah, that's right.
I like how you're always like, yeah, that's right. That's your catchphrase. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
I like it.
It's sort of like the putty. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. Today feels like an Arby's night. That's like one of my favorite lines from him. Feels like an Arby's night.
Boom.
All
Those are
right.
Harvey's night.
Yeah,
that's right.
Which which musician sang the song "You Don't Know How It Feels"? Is it A, John Cougar Mellencamp? Cool name by the way. B, Bob Dylan. C, Tom Petty. Or D, P.P. Burns? Good.
Is that
He's
a
a good
Simpson
singer.
character?
He's a good sing.
Um,
He sings great songs.
Actually, I don't know this. I can't think of this song. You don't know how it feels.
You don't know how it feels. That's the best I can do for you.
List the options one more time.
John Cougar Mellencamp, Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, or P.P. Burns.
And I'm gonna go with it's either A or C.
You sure it's not AOC?
No, too woke for me. You know,
too woke.
Boy, I just went with an A, so I'll just flip flop it and go Tom Petty.
Okay, going with Petty.
Yeah,
Let's not be petty about it. All right. Number 4. What TLC song hit number 1 on the Billboard charts in January of 1995? Was it A, Waterfalls, B, Creep, C, No Scrubs, or D, Everybody Squirts? Everybody squirts sometimes. And you know what? That's not a lie. We've all squirted, whether it was diarrhea when we were a baby or, whatever.
I thought this was going to be such an easy answer for me.
Yeah.
But now I'm confused on Waterfalls and No Scrubs.
Yeah.
No.
Or Creep. Creep was in there too.
No Scrubs. Well, yeah. That doesn't confuse me as much.
Oh, okay.
Waterfall. Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Yeah. It's about
Just stick
drugs.
to
Did
the
you know that?
rivers.
It's about
I had no idea. No.
it's about some kid getting drugs on the street and saying don't go chasing the waterfalls, just stick to the rivers it's just a bunch of metaphors.
The joints
apparently.
and the cigarettes.
Yeah,
Just stick to
yeah,
the stuff you know.
yeah.
Are those not both TLC? I guess one of them is one of them not TLC. What year is this, by the way, again?
Well, these are all TLC songs.
Creep is?
Yeah, yeah. You know, I was almost gonna make a question about what song title was famous. It would be hard to. I was trying to figure out a way to word it because obviously you're thinking of Radiohead, but
Yeah.
but they both had songs named Creep that
I had no
were
idea.
yeah yeah. They sang like
Okay.
or how did it go? Like I'm gonna creep, yeah, something like that. They sang that song? Yeah, sorry, that's why you laughed when I said "Creep." No, I'm like, "No, that's
Yeah.
it's a TLC song." All 3 of these are their 3 top hits.
Okay. Okay. Okay, and what's the phrasing of the question? Did you have a year involved?
Yeah, number 1 on the Billboard, January of 1995.
95. Okay. Okay, don't go chasing waterfalls. I'm gonna go with Scrubs. No Scrubs. I don't want no Scrubs.
Alright. Number 5. This band is known for the one-hit wonder from 1995, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Is it A, Blue October, B, Deep Blue Something, C, Blues Traveler, or D, Balls of Blue? Balls of Blue sing a great song, by the way. It's called Close to the Edge. It's a good song.
I hope I don't get this wrong. I'm gonna go with Deep Blue something.
Gotcha.
I can't remember the rest of it, so I'm just gonna say something.
Yeah, I think that's how they made their name. I think
Yeah.
somebody came up with something really great, and the guy was like, "It's Deep Blue something." Like they were stoned or something the week before or the night before, and the guy's like, "All right, we'll
Yeah.
just call it that."
Their original name was Deep Blue something or rather.
Right. So yeah,
They took
something. Yeah.
they shortened it.
All right. Number 6. Which artist is known? I didn't know this, so this one might be tough for you. Which artist is known as the queen of alt rock angst? Is it Jewel, B, Alanis Morissette, C, Courtney Love, or D, Gory Anus?
Um,
Who is that rhyming? Oh, Tori Amos. Okay, I was trying to figure out who I was rhyming. I was like, I wouldn't just put that unless I was trying to rhyme with somebody.
so I don't think it's Jewel. I don't know who coined that term, the queen of alt rock angst. I could see somebody like Courtney Love having that, but I don't think that I don't see her as popular enough to be the queen of it. Um, I don't think she had as many radio hits as what I like listening to Alanis Morissette. So I'm gonna go with Alanis Morissette.
Man, she had some beef with Joey Gladstone, didn't she? Oh, you didn't watch Full House. Sorry. Because that song's supposed to be about Dave Coulier. That one song.
I do remember. I remember
Yeah.
watching a video that was brought up, that beef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Number 7. I think this one's pretty easy. What does Livin' La Vida Loca translate into in English? Is it A, living the good life, B, living the high life, C, living the crazy life, or D, living that in the closet life?
I'm gonna go with living the crazy life.
Gotcha. Not to say he wasn't living that D either. He was at that time. I don't think he came out until like 2009 or 10 or something like that. But good for you, Ricky Martin. All right. He came out in multiple ways. I feel like that's a gross joke I just said. All right. Here's number 8. The Rembrandts are best known for the theme song to which U.S. TV show? Is it A, Friends, B, Cheers, C, Mad About You, or D, I Love Pussy?
I'm gonna go with I think Cheers is older than the 90s, right? I mean,
Well, it ended in 92, 93 or something like that. It was on for a while.
Well, then I appreciate the layup there. I will say that. Well, I guess I don't know when the Rembrandt started either, but I'm gonna go with Friends.
Not I Love Pussy? I'm really proud of that one, dude.
Nah.
It took me like 48 hours I'm constantly trying to think of a funny name for a sitcom, and I couldn't
Yeah.
come up with any of the 90s sitcoms. So I was like, well, I'm just going to have to go all sitcoms. And then I came up with that one like at 4 in the morning when I'm trying to sleep, and I'm like, and I made myself giggle.
Say it again. Well, how are you pronouncing it?
I Love
I love.
Pussy?
Okay, I see.
Poocy. I love Pussy. Or you could just do it how she did it. You could straight up say it's Pucy. I love Pussy.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I love Pussy.
POC.
Pussy.
Yeah, okay.
Pussy, I'm home. All right, I'm done. All right, number 9. Who is the lead singer of the Goo Goo Dolls? Is it A, Johnny Resnick, B, Dave Grohl, C, Billy Corgan, or D, Justin Casey Feltersnatch?
Feltersnatch, for sure.
Justin Casey Feltersnatch.
Yeah, that was Trump's nickname in high school. I'm gonna go with. You know what's funny is I actually wasn't sure on his name, but you gave me 2 other names that I was sure on, so that I was able
Process
to
of
eliminate them.
elimination.
That's right. So I'm gonna go with A.
Johnny Resnick.
What's his name? Johnny Resnick. Yeah.
Johnny Resnick. Resnick? Well, I say Resnick, but it's spelled like, it's actually really, it's RZEZNIK. But I've always heard people pronounce it like Resnick or something, so I don't know. All right, number 10. This rapper sang the 1992 Grammy Award-winning song, Mama Said Knock You Out. Great song. A, Coolio. B, LL Cool J. C, Ice Cube. Or D, your favorite rapper, MC Beef Flaps.
MC Beef Flaps. Okay. So I don't think it's A. We're dealing with LL Cool J or
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube. Yeah. Mama Said Knock You Out. I'm remembering that song in my head, but I'm not real clear on who did it. If I could see either one of those, but I want to say that that song has a simplistic quality about it that I would expect that LL Cool J might have done it. I want to say Ice Cube was more the gangster side of rap. So I'm gonna go with LL Cool J, and I'm gonna lock that in.
Or maybe it was one of those things where it was from the last one, and that one was actually sang by Justin Casey Feltersnatch.
Shoot.
Yeah, could have been that.
I might have that wrong.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't give me one of those, like, what's the name of the singer from Hootie and the Blowfish? And then you were like, is it A, Hootie? And then I would have been in a bad spot there because I don't know the guy's name.
It's Darius. Shit. He went to country now. He's like doing country music now. But I forgot his name.
I just think he should have changed his name to Hootie, though. Doesn't it seem like that would have been
Yeah, I
the
thought
right
I
move?
saw a video one time of him like bitching because everybody calls him Hootie, and he's like, "I'm not Hootie." It's like, I don't know, it was weird.
It's like you made the band, right? I mean, like, I'm assuming he made it.
Yeah.
I don't know the backstory, but
No, they
if
were
I
a good.
call my-
I like. How did you feel about Hootie? I liked Hootie. I liked some of their songs.
I liked him.
Yeah.
I liked him. Oh
Only
my gosh!
wanna be
Hey,
with
Paradise to put up a
you.
parking. Oh, wait, I'm not thinking of the right one. Oh yeah, that's right. I just mixed up bands in my head.
Oh, okay.
Who's the one that sang Pay Paradise to put a parking lot? That was another one that for some reason I don't know why I get them mixed up. They don't sound that alike either.
I don't know. You might have to look that up.
Dreadlocks, 90s dreadlocks.
Yeah, that's not helping though. I can't. Oh, no, it did for
Come
a minute.
on.
It's not like a It's not Collective Soul.
No.
Not Counting Crows. I feel like it's something like that. That was not like a female singer. Why do I?
No,
what?
it was Counting Crows.
It was.
I'm pretty sure Counting Crows.
Let's see. Oh, come on.
By the way, while you look it up, Hootie and the Blowfish, I did like them. They had their hit song "Hold My Hand." I don't know if that's the name of it. "Hold My Hand." I remember as a kid listening to that on the radio, and that was a banger.
You know, this must be a yeah, Hold My Hand was good, or Let Her Cry.
Let Her Cry, yeah.
This was a cover because Joni Mitchell originally did this in 1970.
I do remember
in a big
that.
Yellow Taxi.
Their cover was Yellow Taxi, yeah. Counting Crows, yeah, Counting Crows. But that guy there was a whole era there where he went through where he had those dreadlocks, and I don't know why
yeah, and actually it is Counting Crows, but it's actually out of our realm because they covered it in 2002. Apparently.
Oh no! You know what? Right now I'm putting the honorary stamp of that's a 90s song on it, even though
it sounds like a 90s song. It totally, like when I hear it in my head, it sounds like it'd be a 90s song. All right, let's see how well you did. Number 1.
Okay.
What music genre did Nirvana popularize in the early 1990s? Well, Brandon would have to be a brain-dead meth head. Yeah, that works. To not get that one, because we literally just talked about it. The options were punk, grunge, alt rock, or cock and blow. The answer, of course, is grunge, and Brandon is 1 for 1. What 90s song spent the most weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Music Chart? The options were I Will Always Make Love to You, I will always, I missed them. I Will Always Make Love to You, I Will Always Love You, from Whitney Houston, I'll Make Love to You by Boyz II Men, and One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men, and then, of course, Brandon's favorite, Honey Dijon special, My Fart Will Grow Strong. You said I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. That spent 14 weeks at number 1. I'll Make Love to You by Boyz II Men spent 14 weeks at number 1. One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men spent 16 weeks at number 1, and it was the longest one. I was surprised by that. I remember the song, but I didn't think it was that. You know what song I thought was going to be on here? Then I learned was only like on number 1 for 2 weeks, and I was like, well, why'd they play it for all the? And that was My Heart Will Go On, but it was only number 1 for like 2 weeks. And I was like, the way they played that song, I thought it was number 1 for like the whole fucking year. All right, so now Brandon's 1 of 2. All right, which is what we say when Brandon's with his clone. He's 1 of 2. All right. Number 3 was which musician sang the song You Don't Know How It Feels? The options were John Cougar Mellencamp, Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, or P.P. Burns. P.P. Burns sounds like a really good novelist. Like I want that to be my pen name from now on. You were having trouble going back and forth between John Cougar Mellencamp and Tom Petty, but you hit the right one. It is Tom Petty. You Don't Know How It Feels. Is that the line? There's a line in that song that I really like, and I think it's like, let's get to the point, let's smoke another joint, because you don't know how it feels. But I'm a big Tom Petty fan. Do you like Tom Petty?
Wow. I do, yeah, and you're the way you saying that right there, just it unlocked something in my brain.
Oh,
and I couldn't think of that song before that.
But now you know.
Moment.
Now you remember it. Yeah.
Now I know.
Yeah. I love Tom Petty. He was great. I think he just passed away in the last year or two. So R.I.P. But
Tom Petty was in a very unknown, a not very like popular movie that I liked. I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it? I think it's Tom Petty. Was he in The Postman?
Is that the Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
Yeah,
am I thinking of the right movie?
That's another one I haven't seen in a long time. Let's see if we can figure this out.
You're gonna do a quick little
little bit of searching. Man, how did people do this in the 90s when they had podcasts?
Yeah. Oh boy.
They didn't
Apple
know.
would have kicked them off with those
Right.
low numbers. Yeah.
Yes. Bridge City Mayor
Petty
was his character name. He was the Bridge City Mayor.
Okay.
I wasn't a big fan of The Postman, but I think I remember you saying that you actually like some. There was a couple of.
I do.
I feel like there was a couple of squonkers. Well, what would you call it? Like blockbuster busts from Kevin Costner.
Duds.
Yeah, and you liked them all because I remember being like Waterworld. I don't think did that well, but you liked Waterworld. I'm pretty sure, and Postman. But obviously, I think I don't know. He Dances with Wolves was like a really good movie.
That was a great movie, yeah. I think those 2 movies, the first ones you listed off, they do share a common theme with something that I personally always enjoy, which is sort of like a post-apocalyptic
male butt nudity.
Like the
doesn't Kevin Costner?
I was going to get to that.
In the 90s, I think Kevin Costner showed his butt in like every movie.
Yeah, yeah. We don't want to bury the lead. That was basically it. So we can go on.
All right. You're 2 for 3. Number 4.
All right.
What TLC song hit number 1 in the Billboard charts in January of 1995? The options were Waterfalls, Creep, No Scrubs, and Everybody Squirts. You said No Scrubs. It was Creep. And Creep was on there for a while, too. You're going to have to go back and listen to that song or listen to like a few seconds of it and be like, oh, that's what it was. Because I'm sure you would.
By the way, I didn't really
the joke
song. Well, that's okay. I still can't think of it. The joke song that you had was by REM, right? That's the original.
Everybody Hurts. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and that's another example of a band that fits right into the, like, what genre is that exactly during
Yeah,
the
they're a
time that they
tough
were
one.
out.
They're a tough one.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what people do. Maybe they just throw them into pop, like, at the time because they don't know.
You know you know what I always liked was EMF.
EMF?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking
Electromagnetic
about?
False?
Frequency? They
Oh.
had a song, I think it's EMF. They had a song called "Unbelievable." Do you know now what
Oh,
I'm talking about?
that's it? You're unbelievable. That song?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
always loved that song. Is that '90s or is that I think that's
That might
'90s,
be
right?
it is I don't know. I didn't come across it in at all when I was doing my research,
Yeah.
but it could have been. You'll have to see if that is.
If that song came out in '89, I wouldn't even have been that surprised.
You're
EMF
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. So EMF Unbelievable came out, his song Unbelievable, it was released in the UK October 1990
Oh,
and was later released in the US on May 14th, 91. So it is a '90s song, and
okay.
that was a really that was a song that I really enjoyed,
Is that a one-hit
during
wonder?
the
Did they have
'90s.
other stuff?
I'm pretty sure that's a one-hit wonder.
It's better than a one-hit wander, which is what happens when you smoke some really good weed and then you just wander off.
Yeah. You don't know where to go.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't know what's up. Um,
Alright, so where am I at? What do I got?
you're at number 5, and the first 4 you are at 50%. You've gotten 2 of 4 right. All right, so number 5. This band is known for the one-hit wonder from 1995, Breakfast at Tiffany's. The options were Blue October, Deep Blue Something, Blues Traveler, and Balls of Blue. And you picked the correct one. It was Deep Blue Something. And that is a one-hit wonder. I do know that for sure because that was on my list, I think. All right, number 6. Which artist is known as the queen of alt-rock angst? Options were Jewel, Alanis Morissette, Courtney Love, and Gory Anus. And you went with Alanis Morissette, and that is correct. So you're at 4 of 6 now. Getting up there. What's 4 of 6 in a percentage, Brandon?
That is, 66 repeating.
There you go. Excellent. You know math. I don't know why I
That's
didn't think you
right.
did. All right. What does living La Vida Local translate to in English? The options were living the good life, living the high life, living the crazy life, and living that in the closet life. You said C, and that is correct. Living the crazy life. So now you are at 5 of 7. What's that in a
Alright, I'm
percentage,
doing good.
Brandon?
That is, so if you take, if you take 5 and divide it by 7, um,
You'll figure it out.
it's like, give a man a fish, he eats for a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. You don't
And it's
basically don't ask me. Do your own fucking work. You figure it out, Matt. You figure out what 5
yeah, and
divided by 7 is.
I already got you halfway there, and so I don't wanna do all the work for you.
Gotcha. Fair enough. That seems fair. All right, number 8. The Rembrandts are best known for the theme song to which U.S. TV show? Was it the options were A, Friends, B, Cheers, C, Mad About You, or D, what was that D option, Brandon? I Love Pussy. I Love Pussy. Yeah. Pussy, I'm home. Sorry, that just cracks me up in my head. If I could do it like him, it'd be much funnier. But that would be appropriation, and that's not cool nowadays. You said A, Friends, and you were correct. So here we go. Can Brandon ace the rest of them?
Let's go.
Number 9. Who is the lead singer of the Goo Goo Dolls? The options were Johnny Resnick, Dave Grohl, Billy Corgan, and of course, Justin Casey Feltersnatch. You said Johnny Resnick. You are correct. Johnny Resnick is the lead singer of the Goo Goo Dolls. And number 10. This rapper sang the 1992 Grammy Award winning song Mama Said Knock You Out. Options were Coolio, LL Cool J, Ice Cube, or MC Beef Flaps. And you said LL Cool J, and you are correct. Brandon scores 80% on the quiz. Did a pretty good job. The TLC one threw you off. And what other one? And then number 2 is actually hard. Like, I don't think anybody could get that unless they really like knowing what the number 1 song was in the 90s on the charts. But I thought I'd
Yeah.
throw it in there anyways.
I'm happy with my performance, given the questions. I think that, I have no complaints. It was a good quiz.
To know. All right. I was gonna try to find some. Oh, here we go. Buddy, thank you. Yes, good job. Good job. All right, back to the show. I guess the whole time it was the show. I don't know why I say that. Let's talk a little bit about the forgotten. Do you say genre or do you say genre? do you say genre or
Yeah,
genre?
I'm a genre guy.
Sometimes I
Genre.
like to say genre just for fun of it. I'll be like, "What's your favorite genre of TV?" And they're like, "What?"
Just to see how far somebody has to stick up their butt about it.
Yeah,
and what
yeah.
they want to
Like,
do
what are
about
you
it.
talking
Yeah.
about? All right, so we have electronic rave. These next few, I'm not a huge fan of. But how did you feel about electronica or like rave music? Obviously, we were too young to go to raves at that time, and I'm not a big rave guy, anyways. And I guess this was this so electronic and rave? They're not. When I was researching this, I didn't see a lot about techno. Was techno after this,
I didn't think so. And I
or are
also
they
want
just
to add.
calling this techno?
I want to say they're calling it techno, but I want to add like the 90s had this electronic rave thing that I did like, but there was like the Chemical Brothers side of it wasn't really something that I enjoyed that much
No,
because I've always been more into melodies, and there were songs that were out there that were more what I would call trance, that were a lot closer to the kind of music that I enjoyed
oh,
at
there's a
that
lot of
time.
people that are anti-trance now, though.
Yeah, that's right.
Just saying,
Um,
you don't want
tell
to
it to
piss
the Harry
anybody off.
Potter fans. Yeah.
You don't want to piss too many people up. Boy Slim, Daft Punk, Chemical Brothers. Sorry, was what you were. I got the smoke coming right up on my face here. Gosh, I do. There was a. What was the big Fat Boy Slim song? Why can't I not think of it?
Right about now. No,
Oh,
is that Fat Boy?
is that
Or is that Moby?
Funkshire Brother? No, I don't think it's Moby. Moby's like
Moby had
way.
some interesting songs.
He had some interesting songs too, but I don't think he really got
Yeah.
into the forefront till like the 2000s, did he?
Yeah,
I'm not
you're
really
probably
sure.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Fat Boy that Right About Now song?
Yeah. Well, you find out if it's that right about song.
I'll look it up.
Right
Yeah.
about now. And
Fat
I know there
Boy
was probably, I know I've, and
Slim
there's a few things from Daft Punk that I'm trying to think of too. The Chemical Brothers, I couldn't tell you. I know I've heard one of their songs, but I couldn't tell you what it was.
He had a song "Praise You."
Fat Boy did? Praise you
Praise.
like I should.
That's right. Yeah.
That song where like he did like some weird vibrato or at the end, or I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah. That had a good vibe to it. I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
The
was...
Rockefeller Skank. I don't know if I
met her.
That.
Don't know the song.
But that's the song. That's the song I'm thinking of.
Oh,
that's
that's what they call it.
Famous for its funk soul brother chorus.
Oh yeah. See that that's what makes it. They don't. Some of these people don't name their songs right, because if we would have known, like you gotta. I guess it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also hard to know what's gonna pop. You sometimes you're probably sitting there being like, yeah, funk soul brother, and they're like, well, that's kind of cheesy. Let's just call it this, and then they do it, and then that's actually what sticks out to everybody.
Yeah. They also had Right Here, Right Now.
Is that watching?
Is that the right?
Right here,
what's the song?
Right now,
right now,
watching the world wake. I can't remember. I do like that song though. I didn't realize they did that. That's Fat Boy Slim.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fat Boy Slim.
And what about Daft Punk?
Daft Punk. Well, I know they had their Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. That was later though, right? Was that?
Yeah. Well, a lot of these when you're telling me about them, I feel like there was a specific. I don't think it's around anymore, but there was a specific radio station called 95.5 The Zone back in the day, and they specifically played like modern rock, alt rock, and that's what I think of when I'm hearing a lot of these bands. Or like Sex and Candy. Who sang that? I hate that song, honestly, but it's always it was in my head all the time.
Sex and I'm not sure. Daft Punk had Da Funk.
Da Funk?
But they had Around the World in '97.
Okay.
You recall that one? Yeah.
Sorry, I was just trying to think about why you'd want your candy to smell like sex, or unless he's just saying he's smelling two different things. I don't know. Each nostril works independent of the other.
Yeah, Marcy Playground.
That's Sex and Candy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. 97.
Yeah, I think there's a general sound, if I heard it, and I'm sure you would too, where you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember this era where it was like modern rock. And I don't know if you listen to The Zone, but I remember listening to The Zone all the time, and it was like a brand new station for us because we really only at that time had 2 like rock stations or like popular music stations or whatever. And then we got that, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this is kind of different." But yeah. Um, and then of course we have TLC. I was actually a huge fan of TLC. Were you a fan of TLC?
I did like
Until
it. Like
Left Eye
I
took that vacation, I was a huge fan.
yeah. That's how I felt too,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, one of
I
them, I think it's Chili. Is it T-Boz or Chili? One of them is dating Matthew Lawrence, and I don't know, I just thought that was kinda crazy. Not because they're black and white people. I was actually thinking because I literally thought that she was gonna be so much older than him, but when I looked it up, I think she's only, like, 10 years older than him or something, so it's not that bad, but I was just like, "Oh, that's kind of a weird combination." Um, Lauryn Hill?
yeah, you just reminded me of when you said black or white of like the iconic sort of like Michael Jackson songs of the 90s too. That
Well, yeah, but a lot is Black or White from 1990s? I thought that's an '80s song.
well, I mean, the CGI on that though was
Yeah.
I'm having a
Well,
hard time
I mean, the
imagining that happening.
CGI on Thriller or I don't know if they were doing I think that was all makeup on Thriller, wasn't it? That
Yeah.
was, like, early '80s. Um, but just Thriller could you imagine showing Thriller to, like a toddler? Like, are they gonna, like it, or are they gonna be freaked out? Because it's kind of a freaky video.
Yeah. Um, yeah, Black or White came out in 91
Okay. I didn't
and,
have much of Michael Jackson on here, and I was thinking about it before. I didn't have much about Madonna. You know, I think what happened was I didn't really
there's
I
so much.
I didn't
There's
really
so much.
it's a lot to do, and I didn't like these people who were already big in the '80s, I think I kinda just went, "Oh, they were already big." And I
That's true,
feel
yeah.
like Madonna well, maybe I don't know, Madonna did have a lot of shit in the '90s, but for Michael, I feel like his better shit was the '80s, right? I mean, Black and White was good. But the only song that's always in my head that I can only remember from the '90s is "You Are Not Alone." You are not alone. Remember that song? I am here
Yeah,
with you.
you just went
So,
so much more nasally with your voice to sing
yeah.
that. Yeah.
I should go nasally. I should go total Slim Shady nasal because that's what he does.
All right. I agree. Yeah, I agree. It's not like his discography spans different decades and
You said
and
that
he
weird.
wasn't
Even though I knew the word, I feel like you hit a weird letter on discography. No, you know what? I did it too. It just sounds weird. It just sounds weird, doesn't it? Graphy.
discography. Yeah.
Graphy. I don't know. It just sounds weird.
Yeah. It's one of those words, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Lauren Hill. She won one of the first hip hop awards because I think the Grammys did like either the hip hop artist or rap artist. I think they introduced that in like the mid '90s. Maybe it was a song. What was her famous song? Fuck, I can't remember. But she had a big
I have
time
no
song, and I
idea.
think she won for that. Mary J. Blige. I liked Mary J. Blige, but she was more into the kind of the rap world. Aaliyah, who's sadly not with us anymore. Um, but here's one I do want to talk about. And I really didn't realize that I liked ska punk because I didn't really know how to like define that genre. Sorry. Um, and then I was like, "Oh, no doubt." Sublime. I fucking loved Sublime. I don't know how you felt, but I loved Sublime. Like it was so unfortunate that he was one of those guys that unfortunately passed away, the lead singer. But um, I don't really know much about Real Big Fish because I have them listed here too. But no doubt, I remember a friend of mine from like junior high uh, really had a crush on Gwen Stefani, and I knew nothing about No Doubt. And nowadays, people probably wouldn't even realize that that's where she started, right? Like people probably wouldn't even know that
Yeah.
she was in that band. Kind of like Beyonce type thing. People would be like, "What the fuck is Destiny's Child?" Be like, "Man, learn your shit." But but yeah, I was a big No Doubt fan. I was much bigger Sublime fan. Any ska punk that you liked?
I always like No Doubt.
Yeah.
Um
Your
I
favorite song is "I'm Just a Girl" because you'd put that wig on. I remember, and you'd be like, "I'm just a girl." And then I
yeah, that's
remember and then there was that time where you also really liked Spider-Man, so you liked, I'm walking in a spider web, leave a message and call me back. That song too, which I don't get,
yeah.
I don't understand what it's
Is
about.
that a later song?
That's in the 90s, I think. I think it was all off the
Is
same
it?
album, but I don't remember.
I don't either. Sublime, I never really got into that much. I know they were a very popular band.
Yeah.
I heard them played at
Loving
like
is what I got,
yeah.
so remember that. That's probably the most famous song by them. Um, well,
I
I
feel like
think
that was a
it's
big
go
was that a
ahead.
big stoner band too?
Maybe it is. The thing is we're talking about how like there are certain bands where you're trying to figure out where they would fit into what genre, and the thing is like now that I think about it, they're telling like No Doubt and Sublimer and ska punk, and honestly, if they weren't in this own genre of ska punk, I'd probably be like, where does No Doubt and Sublime fit in? Because Sublime, there was
Yeah.
actually a little bit of rapping into it. He did like it was weird because he would sing, but he would also like rap. And there was some artists that would do kind of stuff like that where they would kind of mesh it in all one, which was but he was I really liked Sublime. Um they did some good stuff. No, let me talk a little bit about the Latin crossover, although I'm not, I mean, I'm not really big into Latin music. Selena, obviously, it was unfortunate what happened to her. And then we talked a little bit about Ricky Martin. He was probably the biggest Latin star in the States, right? Like, as far as I can remember at that time.
I think so, but let's not forget the big one-hit wonder, um, who sang it? I know he had "Livin' La Vida
Los
Loca," but
Del
I'm thinking
Rio.
of the Macarena.
It's Los Del Rio, isn't it? Um, yeah, because they are my one hit wonder list. It's Los Del Rio, yeah.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, is he a Latin artist?
It
I'm
was
just
like
assuming that, but
I think it was 2 guys. If you I don't know if you remember the video, but now when I see the video, the 2 guys look old as fuck in the video from the '90s, and I was like, "How old?" Like, they look like
yeah,
I mean, we're in our 40s now, but if I was in my teens, I would have thought 40s was old as fuck, right, back then. So,
yeah, yeah,
I think that they might have been in their 40s, I don't know. I'd have to look them up to see their ages, but, it was kind of funny. Um Yeah, the Macarena. I'll tell you what though, if there was a song that somebody told me that we could never hear, like they put it in a vault and they were like, "We can't hear this again," like, or they banned it, and they said it was the Macarena, I'd be like, "All right, I'm fine with that." I've
yeah,
heard the
that's
Macarena
fine.
enough. But there might be some people out there. But that's not and I'm sorry because I don't really know what it means. I mean, I know it's a dance song and it's a dance that you do. I don't think there's any deep lyrics in there, but there are Spanish lyrics, right? So I don't and I didn't it's not like I went and interpreted them or anything. So who knows? Maybe it's got a deeper meaning,
Yep,
but I
yep.
don't know.
I'm
Um
gonna stop myself because I keep thinking of other songs I wanna bring up, but I don't wanna step toes on your one-hit
well,
wonder
yeah,
list, I think
we'll do the
yeah,
one hit wonders because I mean, after this, we're going to talk a little bit about the industry itself, and then we're going to do some one hit wonders. We're going to talk about some musicians who passed away, and then if I didn't reach anybody that you might want to talk about or that you're thinking about, then I'll be like,
that's the
yo,
time.
yeah, I'll
Or
be like
forever hold
Pearl
my peace
Bram, yeah,
because 'cause we're done with the '90s after this. This
yeah,
is it. This is the
yeah.
final chapter.
No more '90s. No, we'll probably do some other '90s stuff. We'll definitely do. We will do
Every
a
other week.
'90s television shows, but we're gonna try not to talk about Seinfeld at all. And that we'll just be like, we'll talk about other shows because Seinfeld took the cake. We'll talk about '90s movies. Oh, we'll do it all, man. I love the '90s. I love just going back there, and I'm sure you do too, in our time machines that we have. Um, all right, let's talk a little bit about the industry itself. Okay, so and we remember this. Obviously, the CD became big in the '90s, and it made labels profitable. And in 2000, I have a fact here. The CD sales reached their peak in 2000 with over 2 billion copies sold globally. If you told people now that 26 years ago people of the world bought 2 billion CDs, like actual physical CDs, people would be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Nobody buys CDs anymore, right? I mean, I'm sure they still exist, but nobody buys them.
Yeah.
Everything's just
The lo
online,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
crazy.
right, yeah. I remember, and I don't know if we have this, but I remember I don't know who did it. Was it Columbia House? Was that the name?
Oh, there was BMG and Columbia House.
And remember getting these pages, like you get them in a magazine or something,
Yeah.
and you have a list of just like 100 different options, and you get like the marketing was always like 12 for a penny.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that worked out. I think they got in trouble for that, didn't they? Or something happened?
Well, I think we talked about this on our 90s episode, which was way back, and I think like episode 2 or 3 of this podcast. But I remember because the one thing that I did all those, and I'm sure I don't know if you did, but I did them all. But I wasn't 18 until 2001, and
Oh,
they couldn't charge you if you weren't an adult. So, well, not charge you. It's not like you're going to jail or something, but like they couldn't give you like they couldn't put it into a credit report. You had no credit as a kid, so they couldn't do anything about it. So if you were a kid, and obviously they had a thing where I think you had to mark you were 18, so everybody just lied and did it, and then they just
mhm,
were kind of SOL. And
yeah.
I don't even know how they made money, but BMG is BMG still around? I mean, I'm sure they're all still around in a different way. Like I'm sure somebody bought them
Yeah.
out and they're just a different company now.
Mergers and acquisitions and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that was crazy, and I think I did that a few times. That's how I got probably like 30 of my CD or 36. Maybe I did it 3 times, and that's how I got 36 CDs. Because I think the rule
Yeah.
was then you had to buy one every month after that, right? But back then you couldn't
Yeah. I
really
think,
enforce
no.
that. It's not like now where I think it'd be astonishing for people to realize, well, now everything's just taken out of your bank account. It's like, well, yeah, but it wasn't really like that then. Like people were using credit cards, but big people were mainly writing checks or using cash. And so it was much different now, where now you can just get a streaming network and they'll just take the money straight out of your account every month. It wasn't like that. They couldn't do that. So yeah, I do wonder how screwed they got on that, but I don't know.
One thing I always wondered was in
Wall.
what, like, yeah,
I just
I always
wondered
wondered
wall.
what is a COD? Like, I know what a COD is, but do you remember the infomercials in the 90s where they'd always end with no CODs? And
Oh,
I
cash
understand
on
what that means.
delivery.
Cash on delivery.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a situation where somebody delivered something to me
And you had
and
to
it
give them
was cash
cash.
on delivery. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like in what era was it, the 80s, the 70s, that we lived through this giant era where people would
We're
just
gonna have to get somebody
buy
on
things?
to talk about
Yeah.
this because I feel the same way as you, dude. I remember seeing those and I'm like, I don't have to ever. I feel like it'd be weird now. Like, imagine, like, especially because it's a delivery driver. It's like, so wait, is that guy going to go back and give it to the person that this money's supposed to go to or whatever, Like,
I actually think that that model needs to make a return.
you
I
do
think there
want it
could be a
back.
future for cash. Yeah, I think there could be a future for cash on delivery because I think it makes sense with now we're
Well,
ordering so many things
technically,
online.
yeah, I was going to say when I get my weed, I don't pay him through my bank. I just pay him cash. So technically, it is cash on delivery. Yeah.
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 Same thing with pizza. People have always done. So why not do so why not Amazon starts to adopt that structure? And how much would that raise a feeling of security or comfort with buying everything online from now on when you can wait till you have the actual item before you have to pay for it? So I'm going to say right now, I think that model needs to make a return. The
I
COD
think the
model.
only issue with it would be the trust factor between the company and the drivers. It's always been there for
Well, they have to
pizza.
eat it. Yeah.
I mean, pizza like has kind of
Yeah.
set the standard with that, but it is kind of weird how nobody else really I mean, I guess like nobody else really did it. Like you had pizza what you had literally pizza be the first who are the drivers that Uber Eats or something like that. Like the pizza guys were the first Uber Eats. And
Hmm.
and then like nobody copied that plan except for like Jimmy John's, and they were on bikes. And then, I mean, maybe in the
Hmm.
big cities, maybe they did. I don't know, but in the city that we're in, nobody like they didn't copy that plan. And then all of a sudden, then you had all the Ubers and the Uber Eats, and then they did it, and it was like that's weird that. But pizza is just kind of like grandfathered in, and I do wonder how many companies would just be like, I don't know if I can trust the drivers. But it's like it's not any different than delivering pizza. They just they balance everything out at the end of the night.
Exactly. Yeah.
So by the end of the 1990s, 5 major conglomerates controlled 80% of music. one of them we just talked about. BMG's in there, Universal Music Group, Sony Entertainment, EMI, and Warner Music Group. And then in 1999, Napster arrives. I'm sure you remember the craze that Napster caused. And we talked about this before. Napster got sued. They got their ass sued like so many times by all these artists where it was the first time ever. I guess we should probably describe what Napster was to people. It was the first time ever you could go online and basically like you could download it, right? Like it wasn't just listening to the music. You could download it and you could have that music.
Yeah, you download it, yeah.
And
you wouldn't listen to it because you couldn't stream. Internet didn't allow
it
streaming.
wasn't fast enough to stream. Or we were still dealing with dial-up and shit. So even downloading one song, which I'm assuming was an MP3 format at that time, right? Because if you were downloading a WAV file, that would have took fucking forever.
Yeah,
but
I did download waves. I remember just before then, I used to download wave bites. That would be like Bart Simpson yelling. Like,
I would do that
shorts,
too.
And it'd be a wave.
Well, those weren't so bad because at least they would be like, they would only be like a couple of words. But if you're trying to download a whole song on Wave, oh shit.
But that would be way too much. But those MP3s, they would be like 3 megabytes, but they would still take like 20 minutes, half hour, depending on your connection.
Well, yeah, definitely.
And
I have a friend who always tells me he went to a friend's house. He always had this story. He worked with me at the Philadelphia steak shop, and he always told me the story about how he'd go to his friend's house, and he's like, I spent like 12 hours at my friend's house just to see like a half a boob because it took that long for a picture, and it was like at the end of the day, like the 12 hours was like, oh, I can only see, like I didn't even get to the nipple. It's like starts from the top and it goes down, and it was funny because that's how it was. And now it's so easy to see a nipple. It's so easy to see a nipple nowadays.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know where to go.
Yeah, Brandon doesn't know. He's Brandon is he's a Scientologist.
Wouldn't even know.
Is it a burn if I say you're a Scientologist? Like, do you take offense to that?
I don't take offense to it. But I think it probably still is a burn.
Yeah.
That being said, there's quite a few very successful Scientologists, so I guess.
Yeah, who's the one? Danny Masterson is one. From that 70s show. He's very successful. He went to prison. Oh, we probably shouldn't mention him then.
Yeah, I could be like him. Yeah, I could be like him.
Yeah, it was probably not him. Not a good example of a scientist. Tom Cruise. There you go. Famous, probably the most famous Scientologist of all, right?
I would say so.
Yeah, so anyways, we kind of got off on a little bit else, but I just wanted to let people know that Napster was a company where you could go and you could download the song, and it would take a while, but they got trouble for that because they didn't ask anybody. They just fucking did it. And they got in a lot of trouble for that. But we had talked about how that's kind of weird now because music is everywhere now. And you can just, and it's not hard to download a song that you didn't buy. I mean, it's quite easy. And it's weird how but apparently the artists are getting something out of it somewhere. I don't know. But it's weird. All right, let's discuss our one-hit wonders. And then after that, we're going to talk about our favorite bands and maybe some of our favorite songs. And then we'll see if Brandon's got any, what do we call that? He's got any, like, he'll clean it all up for us. He'll be like.
So deep learnings and sharp wisdom.
Yeah. Deep learnings?
Yeah, real deep.
Deep learnings. Deep yearnings or deep learnings? Okay, I got it. All right. I have a list of 10 one-hit wonders. Okay? We're gonna just talk about each one for just a second or two. And then we're gonna come up together and we're gonna decide as a whole which one of these is the best one-hit wonder out of these 10. Okay? So we have Torn by Natalie Imbruglia. Macarena by Los Del Rio. Torn, by the way, was 1997. Macarena was 1996. We have What's Up. Do you remember What's Up by Four Non-Blondes from 1993? I said, hey, 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 hey.
Yeah.
What's going on? Remember that song? Oh, God, this is going to be...
And that song's just called What's Up?
Yeah.
I didn't realize
another
that. Yeah.
that's bad marketing, bro. This is probably why they're one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
If they would have done something... Like, I think they do say What's Up, but they took the wrong part of the chorus and made it the name. If you would have called it What's Going On, yeah. I think people would have known. Then Save Tonight, Eagle Eye Cherry from 1997. Save tonight, fight the break of dawn. Will you sing some of these? Do I have to sing all of them? All right.
Yeah, can I sing one?
Yeah, go ahead. Well, actually, yeah, I guess you got to
Okay.
know what it is.
Well, I was going to sing it before you said it.
Do it. See if we get it. See if you guess
Okay.
one.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Leeches all over her body.
Oh, that's Crash
How's
Test
that?
Dummies, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Is that, dude? I don't have that, but I
just
remember
wanted to
that
throw a
song.
deep cut at you. I didn't think you would have it.
Weird
But
Al.
it's one of those
parried
90s
it,
songs.
right? Parried it? Yeah.
Parodied.
Parodied it. That sounds weird. Parried it. Katy Perry'd it. And but I just, for some reason, I like both. I like the style. They were like, once there was this girl, or whatever, however they say it, and I'm just like, oh, I like that for some reason. But good job.
Yeah, and there were always stories. I feel like I always heard stories about like what the song really meant, or who, or like it was always some sad story.
Well,
that somebody had.
they had the sad stories, and then Weird Al brought out the weird events, because I really feel like one of the verses on Weird Al's was about, if people don't know, but we'll know, about when Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding, figure skaters, where Tanya Harding hired her husband, or something happened where she, he went and like hit Nancy Kerrigan in the knees. I think that was one of them. So
Yeah.
Weird Al's, I think, were about a little bit more odder stories, where theirs were probably more serious stories. But You Get What You Give by the New Radicals. Do you remember that one? You get what you,
get what
give.
you get.
You get what you give. I can't remember. I can't
Actually
I can't come up with a rhythm right now.
I don't remember.
Well, that one's probably not going to win then. How about How Bizarre? How Bizarre, How Bizarre by OMC. Didn't know who it was by until I wrote this, by the way. I was like, I don't remember it was by OMC. We've talked about this one in the past. Sing Time. The song that they just play, I felt like way too much back in the day. That was from 96. How Bizarre was from 96 as well. The song we talked about earlier, which was part of Night of the Roxbury and a bunch of different SNL skits, What Is Love by Hathaway, which is from 1993. What is love?
That's a big contender.
Baby,
that's a contender on my list.
Me. Yeah. That song is about a girl's first time with a black guy. That's probably not it. No Rain by Blind Melon. You remember that song from 92?
Yep.
And Jump Around by House of Pain, 1992. Jump around. I don't.
Now, what was it? Jump up, and
jump down.
Get down?
Yeah, I think
jump
down.
Up. Yeah,
you're jumping up, and then while you're up there, you're not getting down physically. Down? You're getting down metaphorically, like with the beat. Jumping up.
Oh, I see. But you're
definitely jumping up physically, but then you're getting down metaphorically. I think they're both metaphorically, actually. But.
And then once you do that, then what happens after that? You jump around? You just start. Okay. I got it.
It's pretty basic stuff, Brandon. I don't know.
Yeah. It's all here in this pamphlet. Yeah, I get it.
Take this pamphlet and read it. All right. So I will say these really quick again, so you kind of get an idea, and we will, between the two of us, pick what we think is the best one. Torn by Natalie Imbruglia, Macarena by Los Del Rio, What's Up by Four Non Blondes, Save Tonight by Eagle Eye Cherry, You Get What You Give by New Radicals, How Bizarre by OMC, Closing Time by Semisonic, What Is Love by Hathaway, No Rain by Blind Melon, or Jump Around by House of Pain. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I thought we were both going to say it at the same time.
Sorry,
what is love?
Let's do it again.
Were you going to say what is love?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. What is love?
You telling me?
No. Yeah. That's the one I'd pick.
That's the one I pick as well. Yeah.
It's just too iconic, right? And maybe it's because we can picture Will Ferrell, and I remember a crazy skit in SNL history where Jim Carrey hosted, and he was part of that. He was part of the Night of the Roxbury guys, and that was like a kind of like a popular skit back in the day. But how do you feel about it? Like, what do you think? Do you think of that?
I think that it touches everything. Yeah, it has that comedy aspect to it that like you can have fun or joke around. That song is sort of the background because it was. You can jump around. Yeah, you can jump up, you jump down, you jump around. Mm-hmm. I think that it also is like has a good melody. Like it's seriously like just a great song to kind of vibe to. I think that the sound of it also encompasses a lot of what the 90s like when you hear that song, I'm not thinking of any other decade. I'm not
Oh,
it doesn't
right.
feel to me
Yeah.
like it really would fit into a different decade. And
Yeah. Sing it as a tech or as a disco song right now.
what is love?
It wouldn't be
I
too
don't know
much different,
actually. No, I guess it would
but
be
it
pretty
would.
similar, but
But I do know what you mean. It's definitely a '90s song.
if I could just put on some bell bottoms, I think that maybe that's what it would really take.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to sing it with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, no, it is a good song, and it's one of those. There's only so many songs in the world where you can instantly hear it, and you're like, yeah, I could dance. I could at least
Mhm.
bob my head or whatever, and that is definitely one of them. All right, let's talk about some sad news. These musicians just recently passed away 30 or more years ago, in the 90s. Uh, Freddie Mercury of Queen died in 1991. That was age related. Kurt Cobain died in 1994. Of course, obviously, most people know he was the lead singer of Nirvana. He died of a self inflicted gunshot wound at the age of 27. He's part of that 27 club, right? What's the 27 club, Brandon?
It's the age that you become conscious.
What are you doing for 26 years?
Uh, at some point you got to take the diaper off,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
is what
All
my
right. Well,
dad used
I
to
was
say.
thinking
Yeah.
more of the 27 club of famous musicians who had died at 27. Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix is in that category. Who's the guy from The Doors? I always forget his name.
Jim Morrison?
Morrison. And then obviously Kurt Cobain is also in that club. Amy Winehouse is also in that club. Tupac Shakur died in 1996. He was murdered at the age of 25, and then 9 months later in 1997, Notorious B.I.G. was murdered at the age of 24. And in Hoon died from an overdose of cocaine. He was the lead singer of Blind Melon. He died at 28. Selena was murdered by her assistant at the age of 23. Eazy-E died in 1995 at 30, and that was an age-related death. Bradley Noel, or maybe it's just Noel, is the lead singer of Sublime, and he died in 1996. I think that was after, like, right before the album Blue, their main album. And that's what I do wonder. He was 28 at the time. He died from a heroin overdose. But I do wonder about like bands where like they just like I feel like Nirvana's the same way where like it's like would they be all time? Like if Kurt Cobain would they be in the conversation of like a goat? If Kurt Cobain was still alive and they had like a big massive catalog, right? Like, and I think about that with Sublime, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why they didn't take off because they were about to take off, but then he died, and then they just didn't make any more music, and so all we really had was that one album that was really good by them. So I do
Yeah.
wonder about that.
Yeah, I do too.
And
Yeah.
then Mia Zapara, she was the lead singer of the Grits. She was murdered. She was sexually assaulted and murdered in Seattle. So that's tough. And then Jonathan Melvoin, who was part of the Smashing Pumpkins back in the day. He was 34, and he died from an overdose. Let's list off. Did you list off some of your favorite bands? Did you have a list of favorite bands somewhere, or maybe in your head? I'll list off mine, and while you're doing that, maybe you can just think of some, or maybe you like some of mine. Blessed Union of Souls, who I've talked about before. That was the lead singer that called me at a pizza place. Savage Garden, I'll admit it. I really liked Savage Garden back in the day. I used to sing Savage Garden. I used to go to these parties with these because there was girls I liked with my friends, and they would be at like some schools, and they would have like karaoke there, and that was the only time. Actually, it wasn't even well, yeah, I guess it was karaoke because I'd be singing like with them. But I used to sing Savage Garden at those, and it would be Truly Madly Deeply or I knew that I knew I loved you before I met you, maybe. That was a song. I was trying to think of all their songs. But yeah, so I love them. Goo Goo Dolls, Oasis, which I'm sure is on your list. I really liked the Cranberries. I was a big fan of the Cranberries. Gin Blossoms, I saw them in concert. I think that was one of my last concerts I ever went to, like 15 years ago. Blink 182, Third Eye Blind, Green Day, Hootie and the Blowfish, Radiohead, Sublime. I love Lisa Loeb. I really do. I loved her voice. Boys to Men, All for One, TLC, Weird Al. I say Weird Al Yankovic, even though he was, famous before the 90s, but I still like a lot of the stuff he did in the 90s. There was a song he did called The Night Santa Went Crazy, and I don't know if you know that song, but I love it. It's like an original. It's not a parody, but it's really great. And then the rest are hip hop artists: Notorious B.I.G., Tupac, Mace, Jay-Z, Ice Cube, Bone Thugs, Nas, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and of course Eminem, who kind of got his start in the late 90s. So what do you got? What do you got for me?
Well, I want to touch on some of the like sort of honorable mentions and as you were naming off bands, Oasis, Gin Blossoms. I also did see them. I saw them at like a music festival, and it wasn't. I mean, it definitely wasn't in the '90s when I saw them. It was quite
I
a bit
saw them
after
at the Cherry
that.
Festival. I'll just say Cherry Festival because that's the Cherry Festival that's in our home city, Traverse City.
The
They were
the
there about 15 years.
international, yeah,
Yeah. The
um,
International Cherry Festival.
yeah, and they sounded great. By the way,
Yeah.
so um, and also I want to mention because you mentioned Blink 182, and I think that there's bands like Blink 182 and also Green Day that were I liked those bands, especially I really got big into Blink 182, but I didn't get into these bands until after 2000, even though they had major releases that were still in the 90s.
Yeah.
But it wasn't my appreciation for them
Well, I will say
didn't
that was the
fully.
same with me. Like besides Green Day. Green Day I did know, and the one reason why because their Good Riddance song, or I always call it Time of Your Life, but I think it's called Good Riddance. That was played on because the very finale of Seinfeld, they did
Yeah.
like a little montage, and that was the song that they had for that montage. So I explicitly remember that, and I always thought that was cool. But I love Green
Yeah.
Day. And yeah, and Good Charlotte I'd
And
put in that list too, but I don't think Good Charlotte got. I started liking those
yeah, I
kind of
don't,
bands, but I think that was more early 2000s that when they started getting famous. But go ahead.
yeah. But there's one really big mention for me in the 90s, and that's I want to say Third Eye Blind. That is one that I like their songs in the 90s,
And
but
we
I
haven't
also
mentioned
like
Beck, by the way. Sorry, we didn't talk much about Beck,
yeah.
and you were talking about him. But Third Eye
By the way,
Blind, yeah,
Beck is another one too, because my brother, like I said, there was a period where he listened to Beck, and so it kind
yeah,
of like trickle down economics eventually caused that to reach me, and so I liked a lot of Beck songs as well. But Third Eye Blind was one where, and then afterwards, I had like redug out or found like one of their old CDs and had played that, and this was like years afterwards,
yeah.
and I just remember
Is
getting
it the red
really
cover?
yes,
Yeah,
that was
that's the
that was
greatest
the
CD they ever. I think that was their
yeah.
debut. I don't remember.
And I went through a period where I would listen to that album from, like, beginning to end without doing, I mean, barely any skips anywhere, and I would just listen to it, and, so that's a really big one for
What
me.
did you think of? I really like Motorcycle Drive By. That song, the
Yeah, is
cadence
that
in
the
that song, and I think it's just acoustic, right? I think it's all acoustic, if I remember right.
sometimes I get that confused with another one, but there's some song because there's one that starts off kinda soft and slow and introspective, but
Yeah,
then there's a point, like, halfway through
where he's getting a little
where it
more.
comes
Yeah,
well, like, there's a point where it gets hard and you're hearing, the electric guitar and drums come in,
that might be
and
Motorcycle
there's
Drive
much
By.
more
It might
feeling.
just start off as an acoustic, kind of softer type, and then it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I could be misremembering, but I thought that was Motorcycle Drive-By, but, there is a song that if it's not that, it's one that's like that where it kinda starts off and it has this sort of a somber feeling, but then it goes into this, like, more impassioned element that,
Yeah.
like, finishes off
They
the song.
reminded me, I think they were almost like I mean, they didn't do a lot of rapping, or I don't know if you would call like Link, but they were kind of reminded me of like a pre-Linkin Park before Linkin Park. And then when Linkin Park came around, I was like, "Oh, wow, these guys like I mean, they kind of did some rapping, I guess a little bit more than Third Eye Blind would. But it did kind of remind me of that cuz Linkin Park was a lot like that. Or was Papa Roach the 90s? I don't even know if he was the 90s, but cut my life into pieces. This
I
is
think
my
so.
last resort. That was actually a pretty good song. I like that song.
There were some songs. Oh, you just reminded me though. Last Resort was. I'm just looking it up real quick. In 1999, there were early versions of Last Resort that were recorded, but the album, the release that they came out on was in 2000. But you reminded me of like,
Creed?
what's his name? Boy, what's it? Rob Zombie?
Oh, yeah. Zabrambi.
Did that big hit he had, did that come out in the 90s?
I'm trying to remember what it was.
He's had a song that was like burn through the ditches and down to the
Oh,
down.
yeah.
That song sticks out in my mind because that was a soundtrack. That song made its way into so many video games that I played in
Oh,
the
yeah.
90s. And so I'm pretty sure that song had to
It
be a
was on
90s
Tony
song.
Hawk.
I don't know if it was on Tony Hawk, but it was on Gran Turismo 2, I think. And I think it was also on Twisted Metal 3.
Oh, nice.
And those were games that I had played the crap out of. Well, I don't know. I didn't quickly find it, but I'm just gonna say that it was a 90s song and leave it at that.
Okay. Well, you are the controller of your own information or whatever. All right. So,
I'm finding a date right now. 98, by the way.
oh,
It's
okay.
called Dragula
Yeah.
with a G. Yeah. 98.
All right. All right. Well, are there other bands or artists that you wanted to mention?
No, I'm gonna stop there.
That's it.
I think that's a good list. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Third Eye Blind is great. Okay, so what else? Are there any other things out there? Any other things that we didn't discuss that you want to get off your mind right now about '90s music? What are some of your favorite songs?
What's that song that goes whiny whiny? I think it was on the Dumb and Dumber soundtrack.
Whiny, whiny. I don't remember that one.
Boy, it was like it kind of had a Caribbean feel to it, but it was a US pop song.
Hmm. Dumb and Dumber. It was on their soundtrack.
Yeah.
I will say that I really really like. If I had to pick a Creep song, it would definitely be Radiohead over the TLC version. But
Oh, for sure, yeah.
that song has been covered so much now, and it's a big thing on, like, singing competitions and things like that, but it's such a good song, I feel like, lyrically.
Whiny Whiny, what really drives me crazy. Does that ring any bells in your head?
Not really.
Yeah, this was a song where I was in like I want to say I don't know. I just feel I was somewhere in grade school, and I remember I had a friend, and him and I would listen to this song all the time. Like it was just the best song in the world. And I don't know how I got it. I think I like captured it on a cassette tape one time, listening to the radio, trying to catch it, and then it came on, and I was like, and I hit record on the cassette tape, of course, with like tape plugged up over the little holes so that way you could record onto it.
Right, right.
I don't know if I'm glossing over this, but for anybody who doesn't know, in the 90s, you had cassette tapes where you could, you play music on it, but you could also record to it. But the stock out of the gate, if you bought a cassette tape that wasn't designed to be recorded on, it would have it would be built in a way to where
You
the
could make
player
it,
that you
yeah.
put in. Yeah, but like out the gate, it wouldn't let you do it, and it was because you had to have this little notch on top of the cassette. You had to have something blocking that,
So you just put, like, a
and that
Scotch
would
tape or something, yeah.
that's right, and it would block the mechanism from, like, the boombox you were using, and allow it to record, so then you could listen to the radio and you could record a song. So, this whiny, whiny song was one of those like, standout songs I remember recording
But you
and
can't
waiting for
find
it to.
can you not find it?
I did find it, yeah.
Well, who was the artist?
Willie Oneblood?
Hmm, interesting.
Definitely some sort of one-hit
Yeah,
situation.
a lot more yeah, that wasn't
Um,
in my one-hit wonders. Yeah,
yeah.
that's crazy.
I know you asked me a question, what I thought about the 90s. I don't if I have any final thoughts. My inclination that I wanna say, and I usually say this about most things when we talk about the 90s, is that I feel like there's something special about the 90s, but it's really hard for me to pull that apart with just having grown up during that time.
Right.
But I think in the interest of being a little bit more divisive, I'm just gonna say the 90s were a really special time, and there was something magical about it that other decades don't have.
It will be in your book that you plan on writing, and that way everybody can get the in-depth analysis, and I believe you're gonna go ahead you can go ahead and take the pen name PP Burns if you'd like, and just have, yeah.
Yeah. P.P. Burns with Dijon How does it go?
I just said Honey Dijon, but you can do however you want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Honey Dijon. I guess it was a female.
Dijon Peepee.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. Anyways, let's just go. Yeah, I'll kick it off to
I'll tell
you.
you one thing, man. You do not. I've tried a Dijon. I've had Dijon on my PP before. It's not good. It's a bad day. Anyways, I did invite people over who had chicken nuggets, so they were going to town. It feels like a bad place to leave off. Anyways, the 90s music was great. I loved it. I like you said, I think there's a certain era of when people grow up that are there. So for the rest of their lives, they're going to say that was their favorite decade of music, and for us, that is the '90s. And don't you feel so old now when you have to be like, "Look, kids, we used to have a tape, and we put the tape in, and we had this pop on the top here, and then you got to put some Scotch tape over that so you could record a song." And everybody's like, What is this old guy talking about?" like, I think that's
Yeah,
how like a 13-year-old, if they're watching this, and they'd be like, "What?" It'd be like telling them that we had corded phones, and they're like, what are you talking about?" You know, it's crazy. All right. Well, it has been a great show. And until next time, from us to you, have a wonderful week, and thanks for watching.
bye.